everybody. Welcome back to Childcare Confidential. I am Jessica Hampton, one of your hosts for this wonderful podcast where we do real talk. We talk about what's really going on in your life and in the world of early childhood. My co-host, Katie Dink, cannot be with us today. As you can tell by my no makeup and crazy hair, I am not in our normal setup. I am actually in Indiana visiting our schools and my amazing friend, Katie. And we're just kind of in the thick of it right now with what is going on in Indiana and the subsidy cuts. And so I want to talk to you about that today. We're going to talk about what nobody really tells you when you own a childcare center. So if you've ever thought about owning a childcare center, if you've ever dreamed about becoming your own boss, and maybe you're in this industry and you're kind of wondering why nobody told me it was this hard or that it's harder than you thought it would be. This episode is for you. And that is why I'm coming to you looking so crazy today, because this is an important episode about what it is really like to own childcare centers. I've owned childcare centers for a very long time now. I've seen amazing victories, which are always fun to be a part of. And I've also seen heartbreaking losses. I've celebrated $1 million revenue. And I've stared at the ceiling wondering how in the world I'm going to make payroll. People see the finished product. They see the happy kids, the classrooms that are beautiful, the ribbon cuttings, the awards, and the podcast, the speaking engagements. But what people don't really see is what it actually takes that childcare owner to build it. And today we're going to pull back that curtain a little bit. And there's some things that nobody has told you about owning a childcare center. I know when I first started, it was like lesson after lesson learned the hard way because, well, as leaders, we can also be stubborn and bullheaded. So people assume, well, you're the owner. You can do whatever you want. In fact, a kid said this to me in our schools the other day, and I normally don't even tell people I'm the owner. But no, you can't do whatever you want. You're actually responsible for everything, though. So while controlling far less than what people think that you can control, you're responsible for everything that happens at your schools. You may think you can control more than you can, but you actually don't control enrollment fluctuations. You don't control staffing shortages. I used to think I could. And there are ways to help improve and make sure you have staffing retention, but you don't control staffing shortages. You don't control, and this is a hard lesson we are learning right now in Indiana, you don't control state reimbursement decisions. You don't control the economy or inflation. You still have to pay the grocery bills, even when they go up. You don't control family emergencies. You don't control the weather. Have you ever had to close for a weather closing and somebody get mad at you for it? We're trying to do the best that we can with what we have. You don't control licensing changes. You can have a voice, you can advocate, but you don't control them. But guess what? You, as the owner, you are expected to fix all of it, even the things out of your control. Being the owner, it doesn't mean that you're in control. It means that you are accountable for everything that happens in your schools. That is a huge difference between just being in control. Nobody warned you about the loneliness. And I'm just going to plug real quick our Vault coaching program. It's monthly on the first Wednesday of every month. We get together for about an hour and a half And we talk about what is really going on in your schools with a small group of people. And we use that to encourage each other, to have the hard conversations with each other, to have a place where you can talk to somebody else who gets it, who's in it, who's been there. Because let's face it, nobody prepares you for the loneliness you can feel as a leader in this field. You can't vent to your teachers. That's bad leadership. You can't complain to your parents. Again, bad leadership. And you can't panic in front of your directors, even though sometimes you probably feel like it. I know I have this week. Sometimes you are completely alone and carrying everything by yourself. People think leadership is influence. Sometimes leadership is isolation. Y'all, this episode gets me because I'm in Indiana, having to write our organization a little bit because of the subsidy cuts. And some of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make were behind closed doors. I made them with no applause, no certainty, just responsibility. Responsibility to our families, responsibility to our team, responsibility to the children we serve. Sometimes it's just responsibility. And even though we have to make mood-proof decisions, and if you have not read it yet, please check out Hani's book. We did a podcast on it just the other week, so make sure to check that out. The podcast went over an hour, just barely, but we just couldn't stop talking because it's such good information. And we have to make mood-proof decisions as leaders, but that doesn't mean that you don't feel them. I'm not typically a crier, but lately, with everything going on in our job, it's gotten to me. I've had to make some really hard calls, and it's not because of something I did. It's not because of something my team did. It's because of the state and what is happening in the government. And that's tough. It's tough as a leader. Conversations you don't want to have, but you have to, because people depend on you. And you know what? Payroll doesn't care about your feelings. And those payroll taxes, they keep coming. By the way, any legislators listening, which we do have a few, maybe payroll taxes or taxes is somewhere where we could help childcares, not just loosening regulations. Just a thought. Because the amount of taxes we have to pay is actually insane. One thing that nobody explains when you first start opening a childcare center is that payroll is going to come whether your enrollment comes or not. And we are learning that right now in Indiana the hard way because of what is happening in our government there. Parents are going to be late paying sometimes. Make sure you have a system to avoid that as much as possible. Children are going to get sick. It's reality. Families are going to move. But Friday? Hey, Friday is always coming. Payday is always coming. There have been nights, especially recently, where I've stayed awake doing the math over and over and over in my head. Can we make this work? How do we make this work? And owners aren't talking about it because on social media, every school looks like they're doing great. Every school looks like things are just fantastic. But behind the scenes, we're seeing schools close. Almost 350 in Indiana since September. We're seeing schools come to us because they're cutting their school age program. Because Indiana's government thinks it's okay to give families $1 vouchers a week for subsidy. And families can't afford it. They're forced not to work or to leave their kids home alone. Or a recent story in Indiana while we're going through all this is 85 children in one house with 4 adults. And this actually happened, and when they investigated, they counted how many children were there. We are being forced as families to unsafe situations. And nobody is talking about it. We're all putting on our smiles, waving, trying to stay competitive with the person next door, which that is a whole nother conversation and just silliness. Knock it off. You don't need to compete with your neighbor. You need to join together. Nobody's talking about it, but we've lived it. This isn't the first time we've had a hard time at our schools. It won't be the last time. We're gonna make it. We're gonna work hard. We're gonna put in the effort. We're gonna put in the time. We're gonna put in the money. But it's not fun. It needs talked about. Because the reality is, the weight that we feel is the weight of people's lives. This isn't just a business. You didn't get into this, hopefully, just to start a business. Because this is a passion field. I do it because I love what I do. I love impacting the children. I love impacting the families. I love being a support for them. But we have to match our passion with our margins. And if you haven't checked out our Podia site, please get on childcareconfidential.podia, podia.com. There is an hour training on there, and it's about CEO in childcare, and it talks about numbers and margins versus passion, because it is so important that those two align. Because really, it's a business, but it's not just a business. Families depend on you. Teachers depend on you. Children depend on you. Every hiring decision affects someone's mortgage. Whew, that's heavy stuff. That's a lot to carry. Every tuition increase affects someone's budget, but they're necessary. Every termination changes someone's life. I don't take those decisions lightly. In fact, it's been a really hard week because we've had to make some of those decisions. I've had to have those conversations that I didn't want to have, and I avoided as long as I could, because you know how that goes. It's tough, and it stays with you. I am so thankful for my community this week, because they knew that I was going into a really tough time where I had to make some really big decisions because of what we were going through in our state at the moment. And they checked in on me. They sent messages. They made sure. And I just kept saying, it's a mood-proof decision. I know what has to be done. And I just have to do it. And that's never easy, because you are affecting somebody's life. Just because it's mood proof doesn't mean you don't feel it. Because trust me, I've felt it for a minute this week. Nobody claps for your sacrifice. People don't cheer you on sometimes when they don't see what's really happening, or they don't see some great post on social media. People usually celebrate success, right? They celebrate how well things are going, but they don't celebrate your sacrifice. They don't see when you were working weekends. They don't see when you came in and washed every wall in a 10,000 square foot building by yourself. They don't see how you painted a shelf to make it look better, or an improvement that you made in the school. They don't see the long hours or the weekends that you work. They don't see answering the calls while you're on vacation. Our family likes to go on cruises. We've gone every year for many years. It's just something we enjoy. And the reason I enjoy it the most, I don't buy the internet package when I'm on a cruise, because you know what? I go on cruises because I can put my phone away and nobody can contact me. It's like the only way to get a real vacation and a breath sometimes. They don't see when you're missing family dinner because a child was left at the school for way too long, and so you have to go up and rescue somebody so that they can go home and be with their family. They don't see the hours you spend reading and studying licensing regulations to make sure that you are doing every nitpicky thing correctly all the time. They don't see that pressure. They don't see you fixing toilets. They definitely didn't see me on picture day in heels, plunging a toilet because a child stuck a Lego down it, and licensing walking in. They don't see you cleaning and organizing classrooms, or running to the store to get something to make the classroom look better. They don't see how you have to work in ratios and understand why people can't just request off whenever they want, because we have rules to follow. They don't see you covering call-offs. They didn't see me drive here at 3:30 in the morning from Michigan to make it into my schools today, to make sure that they knew they were supported through all of this, just being a presence. Owning a center really means that you get a title change literally every hour sometimes, from CEO to janitor to cook, counselor, coach. All of a sudden, you're the maintenance person. Don't look behind any of our pictures at the school. You might see terrible mudding jobs and marker that says Jess was here, and then a picture or a wall clock, hint, hint, over it. Because I didn't know how to mud a wall, but guess what? It had to be done. Who's going to do it? You are. They don't see that you're all of a sudden the HR department or the payroll department or the marketing. They don't see that you're the teacher one day or the bus driver. And the reality is, sometimes you're doing all of that before you even get to lunch. They don't see that your biggest mistake will cost you real money. They get to come in and get a paycheck. If they make a mistake, they still get paid. But your mistake, it's much more expensive. Every owner has made expensive mistakes. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Trusting a family's going to pay in a couple weeks, it's going to cost you. Hiring too fast, promoting someone too soon, keeping someone way too long. Been there. Maybe you're not charging enough because you don't want to affect your families. You're trying to make everyone happy. You're avoiding hard conversations because who wants to go in and lay off a friend? Who wants to go in and tell someone we can't keep going this way? Nobody. The hard conversations still have to come. Stop avoiding them. Just get it done. Trusting the wrong people. Those mistakes, they hurt. But they also teach. Some of my biggest mistakes were honestly my best lessons. Things that I said, I'm not doing that again. Have taught me a lot about who I am, a lot about leading, but they cost. The wins are different than you can imagine in this field. People think the wins are the awards, the expansion. I used to think, well, if I didn't expand by this time next year, I wasn't doing enough. It wasn't showing people enough of what we're doing. And that used to really get me. People think the wins are the revenue. The revenue comes and the revenue goes. If you're in this for the revenue, you might not be in the right place. People think that the wins are the recognition, the awards, the podcast, the being on social media. But doesn't everybody look like they're winning on social media? Those are nice. It's nice to get the award. It's nice to have the expansion. It's nice when the revenue matches what you're doing with real work and real passion. Those are nice. But you know what? The things that have stuck out to me the most, the true, real wins, have been seeing former kids that I had when they were little graduate high school or college, have a family, go off in their own career, play on a college football team. A teacher buying her first house, getting her driver's license, getting a car. Those are the wins. Having a struggling child who has struggled, and parents looking desperate for help, that is finally thriving. That's a win. And one of the things that have stuck out to me the most throughout my career are the wins from families. The wins that say, you changed our lives. Keep your head up. You're doing great. We can't thank you enough for how much you've helped our child. That right there is what keeps you going. It's not the trophies. It's the people. This is a people work. It's a messy business. And it is hard sometimes, harder than people can imagine. The stress that you carry when everyone depends on you is a lot. And decisions have to be made, whether you want to make them or not. People are messy. Life is messy, and a lot of people are hurting right now. It's a tough call, but it's worth it because you're changing lives. Your legacy is continuing because you're making an impact in your community. It's worth it. It's hard. See me all crazy and crying and teary-eyed. It's hard. Everybody wants a piece of something. And when you have to make those hard calls, Sometimes you get backlash. Sometimes you get emails or calls from family members telling you how terrible you are. But you still have to run a business. I can get mood proof and make those decisions in my school. And then I can come to my community and you guys, our community here, and talk about the real stuff. My team doesn't really see this, Jessica, unless they're watching the podcast, because I am on it when I am on my job. I am on it when I am in my schools. I am encouraging. I am happy. I'm positive. But behind the scenes, sometimes things suck. Sometimes they hurt. Sometimes you have to make decisions you don't want to make. But not just one person's depending on you. Everybody is depending on you. And you're accountable for everything. Being a leader is tough. Owning a childcare center is probably the hardest job that I have ever had. And I keep doing it because I love it, because I love our families, I love our children, I love our team. Don't do it because you think that it's going to be easy. Don't do it because you think that you're going to get rich. Don't do it because you love cute little kids. Don't do it because you feel like it's the next step. Do it because you believe in what you're building. You believe in what you're building. And it's bigger than just you. Because this profession, it's going to stretch you. It's going to make you all teary-eyed sometimes, looking at the ceiling, wondering how. But you can do it. It's going to humble you. That's for sure. It will frustrate you to no end, especially right now with what is happening in many states. And this week, it broke my heart. And that's going to happen sometimes. It's not the first time. I guarantee it won't be the last time. Hopefully not the same way. But if you stay long enough, I've been in this field for 25 years. If you stay long enough, it will give you the moments that remind you exactly why you started and why you're doing what you do. And that's the part that nobody tells you. So, to every owner listening, administrator, owner, I know there are days when you're wondering if anyone sees what you're carrying. And as I sit here in my hotel room in Indiana, I see you. Because you know what? I've carried it too. And there are days I am still carrying it. There are days when you feel like you're not winning. There are days when you feel like you've sacrificed so much and nobody sees it. Well, I've carried it too. And I see you. Keep leading. Keep learning. Become a lifelong learner, guys. If you're not in a coaching program, whether it be ours, the Vault, or somebody else's, get in a coaching program. You need support around you because you're going to be faced with hard decisions and you're going to have to keep making them. Your work matters more than you will ever know. It really does. The impact you are making in the lives of children, families, your team member, the community matters more than you'll ever know. And remember, the children may never know or remember your name, but they will spend the rest of their lives benefiting from the decisions you had to make when no one was watching. Thanks for joining me on this solo episode in my hotel room with lack of makeup and all the things, and on my emotional journey of this week. It's been a tough one, but you know what? We're going to be okay. We're going to get through it just like we do. And we're going to keep plugging on, because what we do, it's important. The impact we make, you can't measure that in expansions and awards. That's it for me today. I can't wait to talk to you guys soon. If you have not checked out the Vault, we do a coaching call every first Wednesday of the month for an hour and a half. And then we also have resources and one-on-one coaching through that subscription as well. Join us. We have a coaching call coming up. Join us. Send me a message, and we'll get you plugged in, because everybody needs people that understand, that know what they're feeling when others can't. Love y'all. See you soon. Bye.